Welcome to the Extraordinary Purpose Podcast, where we explore some of the truly difficult questions and challenges that parents and their families face every day. Whether it's the sometimes painful process of parenting teens and young adults, navigating relationships with your partner and children, or you discovering your purpose in relationship with yourself, we will bring heartfelt and vulnerable conversations to the table to support and empower you. Our mission is to help you create a lifestyle full of love, passion, adventure, and influence. Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. We're so glad to have you here with us for another episode, another topic, another conversation here at the Extraordinary Purpose Podcast. As always, I'm Chris, and I'm here with the inspirational, influential, motivational Erin. How's it going, sweetheart?
Hi, honey. How's
It's
it
going
going?
great. It is a beautiful fall day out. We're here in Michigan, and we
Beautiful.
couldn't have asked for a better fall day. It's sunny. The leaves are changing color. Just, you guys know that our dog Koa loves to take like 5,000 walks a day. And so he's already had a couple of walks this morning already, which I don't mind when the weather is really nice.
Yeah, it has been just a gorgeous fall. I think overall we've had a couple random like almost 90-degree days, which kind of like messes things up a little bit and throws us off balance. But overall, it's been absolutely beautiful
Yeah,
weather.
it has been.
I love
I do
fall.
too.
Once I surrendered to fall, I said this several episodes ago that little transition between summer and fall is challenging for me. But then once we really get into like October, I'm like, okay, let's do this. Pumpkin spice everything, cozy
You guys love your
sweaters.
pumpkin spice. I love pumpkin pie. I don't like everything that tastes like pumpkin, though, that I drink and eat.
I know you don't. I was buying it back in like
August.
early
Oh,
September,
okay.
and Chris was like, "You guys are gonna get sick to death of that
Pumpkin,
by the time Thanksgiving
everything. Who
comes."
can
But we
relate?
haven't.
But no, we have some fun family activities planned, I think, for the next couple of weeks. Cider mills, corn maze, maybe even a haunted
Hmm.
house. That could be on the agenda. We haven't talked about that yet, but that's a possibility. What are
Big
some activities that
possibility.
you have planned for your family this fall? It's good to have a couple of things on the agenda to look forward to get you guys outside, connecting and just having fun. So, Erin, do you want to talk a little bit about why we're here today and what the conversation with our parents are going to be?
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite topics
Mine
to
too.
coach on, and that is identity. And so it's such a simple word, but it holds so much substance, so much value, so much impact and influence and empowerment. There's so much behind identity. I think when we typically hear that word identity, we think of labels. We think of our identity as, well, I'm a mom or I'm a sister, I'm a husband, I'm a life coach, I'm a
Hmm.
nurse, I'm a teacher, like whatever it is, we just think it's our labels, and it can be for sure. But what we're going to talk about today is not so much who you show up as at different phases of the day or throughout your life, it's how you show
Yeah.
up. And we're going to break down the power that is behind intention. And intention is really what identity is, that you get to show up intentionally. You have so much more power than you recognize. And everybody that we coach, the parents we coach, the young women, the young men we coach, it's all to help you understand that you have so much more power than you recognize. And it's to help you really identify that power, connect with it, and then execute on
Yeah,
it.
this is all about power. And so this is power for us parents, it's power for our children. I think what holds back that power, well, holds us back, holds our kids back, is that we're always distracted. Okay, we're always in our thoughts and our feelings and our phones and distractions 24/7, 365. And this is something that Erin and I we face because we're parents too. We have a lot going on in our lives and we're being pulled in a million different directions, but it's also the one most important thing that's holding us back from being more intentional. And the definition of potential, by the way, let's just throw that out there in case some of us aren't clear. What does it really mean? It means to show up with purpose. It means you're showing up as the best version of yourself in that particular moment. And when you show up a certain way, it can be an absolute game changer. And that's the stuff that we want to talk about now because I think that is what we're all looking for. We're all looking to make more of a difference. A lot of the reason that some of us aren't intentional is because we lack some of that confidence that we need. Why aren't we confident? Because we don't know who we are and what's really important to us. And so the act of becoming more intentional is figuring out some of that most important stuff. So we learn more about ourselves. We figure out what's important to us, the things that really are going to help us make more of an impact.
So, what does it mean to be more intentional? Because that's kind of a word that I know we use a lot,
We
Chris. We
do.
throw that word around a lot, being more intentional. And yes, it means to be more purposeful, but I kind of want to break it down a
That
little
sounds
bit
good.
because I think the truth is that we all want to be more intentional
Hmm.
because when we show up in our lives with intention, it means that we show up more in
Yeah.
control. We're more in control of our emotional states. We're more in control of our thoughts. We're in control of, we have more influence and impact in our relationships, and everything we do just flows
Hmm.
better when we show up with intention. And so the question is, how do we start doing that? At least that's, I'm aware of this and I try to practice
Yeah.
this in my life. But for those of you listening that are like, that sounds great, Erin and Chris, but like, how do I start doing that? And that is where a lot of practices come into play. And some of the rituals that Chris and I teach a lot in our coaching are all there to help people learn how to become more intentional, how to be more grounded. So things like having a solid morning routine, which we've talked about a lot on this podcast, but having a routine where you wake up in the morning and you set intentions for your day. It is the best time of day to take 5 or 10 minutes with yourself, quality time, maybe a meditation, maybe you just sit there with your cup of tea or coffee, but you get grounded and you become mindful. And that's when you can mentally set the tone for your day. You get an opportunity to decide how you're going to show up, what identity you want to step into your day with. Okay, so that's one of the biggest things. A couple other rituals that we teach is journaling. It's a great opportunity to dialogue with yourself, to get to know yourself better so that you start to feel more in control of yourself. And then meditation is one of my favorite ones. It's an opportunity to come home to yourself, to really learn how to connect with yourself. And so all of this takes practice. This is none of it's going out into the world intentionally and creating your own empowered identity is nothing that happens overnight, but it's something that you can start practicing today.
What do all of those rituals have in common is that they help you become more present. They get you out of this external world and really focusing on yourself and what's really important to you. How often do we really stop or pause in our day and really reflect on those things, connect with those things? That's what we're talking about. Like the in the moment way of becoming more intentional, similar to journaling, similar to meditating, is just to tap the brakes. That's something that Erin and I talk to teens and young adults about every single day is you just
Mm-hmm.
pause before you walk into a classroom. You pause before you enter into a conversation. You pause before you sit down for dinner with family. And this goes for parents too, but you pause before you're meeting with your partner, you're coming home to your partner. You just had a busy day, it was chaotic, you're stressed, you're anxious. You're not at your best. How do you just recenter yourself? You just pause and calm yourself down. Aaron and I talk a lot about breathing exercises. It's one of the
Mm-hmm.
simplest ways just to reset yourself. And that's how you create that connection with yourself so that you can identify what's really important to you and then who do you need to be in order to really show up for that other person or for the action that you're about to take or that thing that you're about to do. And why is that all important? Because it doesn't feel good when we're just surface level all day. We're just going through the motions. That's what this is really about. It doesn't feel good. We're not going to get great results. We're not going to get great grades. We're not going to connect with our partner or with our children, right? All of these things ultimately matter to us. And yet we're not going deep enough to get into that area where we're really leaving a difference, making a difference, feeling good about who we are and what we're doing. And that's really the name of the game. And that gets us
Mm-hmm.
to how does becoming more intentional elevate our impact? How does it get us better results? How does it help us even figure out our purpose? Which that's the name of our brand. The name of our podcast is Extraordinary Purpose. everything that we talk about during these conversations with you, it's ultimately about helping you connect with yourself so that you can align with your purpose. And so, Erin, do you want to share kind of how this helps you get better results in your life?
Yeah, and I think I was thinking of a little story as you were wrapping up what you were just
Yeah.
saying, and this is a great example. I think a lot of moms can relate to this. For instance, when I'm making dinner at
Mm.
night, there's times when I am at the end of my rope. I'm tired and and everyone's not getting down for dinner on
Oh.
time and the table's not set. And I can feel myself, my blood's starting to boil. I'm slamming things down on the counter. I'm getting frustrated. Chris
Oh
consents
my
and he's like,
gosh.
okay. And so there's such a difference when I remember, because I'm not perfect and sometimes
Yeah.
I forget or I just literally we all lose control of
Yeah.
ourselves sometimes, right? But when I remember I go in the living room and I'll take a couple deep breaths because I come back to myself. And this is where I think my morning routines and my meditation have
Mm.
helped me learn how to do this better. And I'll have this really quick mini sort of inner dialogue with myself. I'm like, I want to have a nice dinner with my
Mhm.
family. I don't get to see the kids or teens and young adults now. We don't get to sit down that much for dinner. So when we do, I want to enjoy
Yeah.
it. I want to know how everybody's day was. I want to share about my day. If I come to the table flustered and annoyed and
Mhm.
frustrated, they all sense it and everybody shuts down. And I know moms, it doesn't always feel fair that like we tend to set the tone for everyone else,
Mhm.
but it's kind of the way it goes sometimes. And I guess in a way, I've learned to enjoy having that responsibility. It's helped me to dig deeper and work on myself even more. So that's the influence you can have. That's an example of when you can turn your identity around and you can practice some of these rituals and learn how to take a breath, learn how to take that pause, like Chris said, take a beat, have that quick conversation with yourself, take a deep breath. You can turn your identity around in a heartbeat. So I can go from being like a crazy, pissed off mom showing up to the dinner table flustered, or I can show up as a little bit more evolved and showing my kids emotional regulation, right? And sharing that with Chris so he has a good dinner too. But there's so many. So that's one little example, you guys, of like Chris said, anything you're gonna do when you step into going to work, coworkers drive you crazy. Maybe you have bosses that are challenging, kids are challenging, relationships are challenging. We don't discount or belittle that life is a lot. What we're saying is that you have a choice. We always have a choice. And I think that's why Chris and I love coaching so much is, what we get across to our clients all the time. And our biggest passion is to help people is to empower people by helping them recognize that we always have a choice to make. And so identity is just a choice. Showing up intentionally is a choice. Again, doesn't mean it happens overnight. It means that you can start putting things into practice today that can help so that you are more influential as a mother, as a partner, at work, with your coworkers, as a business owner, with yourself, having more autonomy over your physical well being, your mental health. All of that, you can have impact and influence on yourself and everyone around you when you make the choice to be more empowered in your
Yeah,
identity.
because the truth is that you have more potential than what you realize. Your kids have
Mhm.
so much incredible potential. How do you find it? Is you put in those reps that Erin talked about. You put in those reps and you practice every day. You don't be perfect. This isn't about figuring it all out and cracking the code. It's about practicing every day, slowing yourself down, becoming more intentional, really discovering what that best version of yourself for that specific moment is capable of. Because right now, odds are we're all holding ourselves back. And what holds us back? We talked about it before. We talk about it all the time. It's our own thoughts, it's our own self talk. We're literally talking ourselves out of things. Like Erin mentioned, sometimes we're just knocked off our game. We're stressed out, we're anxious, we're overwhelmed. What's the answer to move forward? It's connecting with yourself. It's becoming more present. It's understanding that when you're in the present, you have more control. When you're in more control, you are dangerous. Your kids are going to become
Mhm.
dangerous. They're going to start to get better grades. They're going to start to improve the quality of their relationship with you and their friends and the family, all because they're in more control. And so, if you want to make more of an impact, you want to have more of a difference, you want to start to really figure out who you really are or who your kids really are, then these are the things that you start introducing into your life immediately.
Yeah, and if we can take this just a step further too, is this is a whole module that we work on in our coaching program with young adults. And one of the exercises that are part of one of the lessons in that particular module is visualization. And so, yes, it's showing up more intentionally in your emotional state, in your thoughts, in your words. It's also, when we think externally, it's how you show up in terms of how you are making eye contact with people. If you are talking with your hands, if you're smiling, if your shoulders are back and you feel confident, how are you dressing, right? Are you shaking people's hands? Are you being humorous? Are you smiling a lot? All of those things make a difference. And the way for you to start really wrapping your head around that is to visualize it. So when you start thinking about that you want to show up differently at the gym, for instance, or you want to show up differently at work, you take some time every morning, you close your eyes. I think in the show notes, I'll include a visualization meditation
It's a good
here.
idea.
It's about a 14-minute meditation where you can really it's like almost seeing it on a movie screen, but start to visualize, how do you want to show up? Do you want to start dressing differently?
Hmm.
How do you want to start interacting with people in a different way? You have to kind of see the end result. So if you're thinking about the gym, that you want to look a certain way and you want to show up to the gym differently, first you have to see that end result. How do you want to look in 6 months from now? And you get clarity and you see yourself more, lean, and you can see that muscle and you're a little more shredded and you've lost the weight, you're glowing a little bit more. Then you start to ask yourself, you back into that. How does that version of myself show up every day? How does that version of myself speak to myself? How am I talking about my life to other people? How am I dressing? How am I interacting with other people? So you can start to back into that version of yourself. If you want to show up differently with your kids, you want to be a more playful, patient parent, you start to visualize that every day. You start seeing yourself in that light. Then you ask yourself, how do I need to start showing up in order to become that version of myself?
And the results will start to speak for themselves because every
Mm-hmm.
single time that you practice, and this is the thing about we're coaches. What do coaches really do when you think about sports? What do they have their teams do every single day? They're on the field, they're practicing, they're putting in the reps, they're figuring out what their real potential is and what they're really capable of. Same difference here. So everything we talked about today, all you have to do is break this into some small steps that you can take today and tomorrow and the next day and the day after that. So I think a couple of really simple things that we can all do, Erin and I included, every single parent that's listening to this and watching this, is think about a couple of those moments in your day that maybe happen every single day. And maybe it's dinner, maybe it's a moment that you'd like to create for your family. I think Erin and I have shared that we like to take walks together. And so maybe you want to implement that with you and your partner as an opportunity to connect every single day and have a heartfelt conversation and kind of resync with each other. Then pick a couple of those moments and commit right now to becoming more intentional for those specific moments. It doesn't have to be your entire day yet, but prove to yourself that you can slow down or stop and really align with what Erin just described as who do you need to show up as in those moments in order to get those results, in order to connect with your partner, connect with your children, really start to get yourself seeing the improvements in whatever it is that you want to be more intentional about. And just watch how that translates to not just that specific moment, but all the different areas of your life. Because it's the topic of this podcast is not just being intentional, it's about your identity. This is about who you really are deep down below all the distractions and all the stuff that's holding you back. This is about your identity. And the more things that you start to do to prove to yourself who you really are, really important to you, what you're really capable of, your confidence is going to start to soar. And that's going to help you in all the different areas of your life that we always talk about here.
Yeah, and what this really does too is it puts the ball back in your
Yeah.
court, because it's so easy in our lives to get into that victim mode and the blaming of like, well, if only he would do this differently, if only my kids would do this differently, if only my boss wasn't such an idiot, right? If only I had more clients coming through the door, like whatever it is. it always comes back to you. And I know that's hard to hear sometimes, especially if you have gotten used to in your life in that mode of like, it's the outside world, it's their fault. It's not me, it's something that's not working out here. It always comes back to you. But that's empowering. When you recognize that you can show up differently in these different aspects of your life, and you can become this greater version of yourself and create a more empowered identity, that's a beautiful thing. And that puts the ball in your court and you are back in control. Other people will start to respond differently to you when you start to show up more empowered and you are more in control of your identity. I promise you, everyone around you eventually, won't happen overnight. None of this personal growth work is like a magic wand.
No.
It takes work and practice, but the world and your relationships will start to respond differently to you.
All right. So parents, thank you for listening. I hope this was a powerful conversation for you. Hopefully this has been some inspiration for how this can help you in so many different ways. We can't wait to hear how it goes. Go out there, make a difference. Show your kids who you really are. Show your partner who you really are. Show yourself who you are and what you're capable of. We can't wait to hear all about it. Can't wait to see you and talk to you again during our next conversation coming soon. Hope you all have a great week. We'll talk to you then.
Bye,
Guys.
everyone.
See you
Have a
later.
beautiful
Okay,
week.
bye-bye.
Take care. We are so thankful for you and your beautiful family and hope you found something inside today's episode that brought you hope, inspiration, and most importantly, a path forward. If you're interested in evolving your relationship, giving your kids the most important gift of personal growth and development, or are a mom looking to reconnect with your confidence and become empowered in all areas of your life, then schedule a discovery call with us today. Our mission is to help as many families as possible find their purpose, and that starts with you. See you in the next episode, my friends.